Nice to hear you one more time. So it's always a pleasure to meet for our monthly webinar. This year, we're doing a review of our 2024 overview. So most of the major improvements in Advanced Installer a little bit earlier, because I wanted to sync it with some of the licensing changes we've done in the past and our latest major release 22.0. Which for our older users, as you know, it's basically just another month release, as most of our releases. It's nothing different from our releases from June or from the spring. It only includes work that we've been analyzing and integrating it in Advanced Star over the last months. So without further ado, as I said, I'm just going to highlight some of the most important changes we've done, because there have been 10 or 11 releases, I think 10 releases so far, and each of them has more detail in our version history page. So if you want a detailed history of all of those releases, just go on our download page in the version history section, and you'll find there all the details on the changes, if something specific is of interest to you. I'm going to start with the most important topic. It's something that we've started refreshing in 2023 when we've bought our own certificate as a cloud managed certificate in the Azure Trusted Signing. Back then it was called Azure Code Signing solution. So for those of you that don't know, I'm going to make a quick recap and inform you that starting the summer of 2023, all the certificates that expired, code signing certificates, when you renew those certificates, you will need to store those certificates on a certified hardware. That's FIPS level 3 140-2. So for that, you need to either use a USB flash drive, a cloud storage solution like the one that Microsoft is providing in Azure Trusted Signing, or the guys from DigiCert provide with DigiCert Keylogger. And probably other vendors are starting to offer a similar service too in this area. Or if you have inside your company's hardware servers that provide this level of certified hardware, then you can store them on that kind of hardware too. And but that's rarely the case. So from our perspective as a small ISV, the simplest solution was to trust Microsoft in managing our certificates via the Azure Trusted Signing service, and allow us to integrate that certificate into our development pipeline, be it for our local builds or for our cloud builds in GitHub Actions and DevOps, as I'll detail a little bit as we go on. So starting this spring, we announced the official integration of Azure Trusted Signing in our user interface in Advanced Installer. So in your projects, you'll find a new option, as you see in this screenshot, that says Use Trusted Signing in the digital signature page. And all you have to do is to enable this option and fill in your Trusted Signing account details, of course, after you sign up with Microsoft and configure the account on Azure. The big advantage of this, of using such a service, is that no more in Advanced Installer, you no longer have to include any private information like a password of the certificate or details like this. So what you see here in this screenshot, this is a sample screenshot, but these are not credential identifiers. If somehow this data got out of your company, it couldn't be used by anyone who doesn't have access to the Trusted Signing account in Azure, because the authentication is done separately via the operating system using your Azure account. So before you fill in these details in Advanced Installer, you will need to authenticate via one of the methods provided by Microsoft. It can be setting some environment variables. It can be a browser interactive login. You can have a Visual Studio login on that machine, as we do on our build servers. And then Advanced Installer will leverage that login using the updated version of Sign tool and pass all the information that is configured inside the project, along with a list of files that need to be signed, files included in the package and files inside the package itself, like cap files or stub files that get included inside an MSIX package and all of that. And we've extended this integration not only for the user interface in Advanced Installer, but also for our Visual Studio integration. So you'll have there a similar UI if you prefer to use the Visual Studio extension for Advanced Installer. And again, it works flawlessly with our GitHub Actions and Azure DevOps official integrations for Advanced Installer. We've released new versions for them in the spring. Those versions include this update along with some security and maintenance tasks based on the feedback that you guys have sent us. Another important change we've done with regards to the contents of the package is how you can manage the component policy inside your package. So when you're building an MSI, you have the option to structure the organization of components. So each feature, you have one or more features inside the MSI package, and each feature contains the components assigned to the files, registries from the package. And for advanced users of our tool, there was the need to customize those rules. So since we launched Advanced Installer 20 years ago, we've always used the best practices from Microsoft to allocate the resources into components. And we've organized them following best practices from Microsoft. Each DLL would get a new component, registries key separated, and all of that. And in some large packages, this would generate a very, very large amount of components inside the MSI database, which in the end would increase the installation time in the costing phases of installing. So in the initial phases when the installation was being prepared to be installed, and at the end of the installation when every component had to be registered in the system with its new state. It was installed or it was skipped for installation, depending on the options the package was configured with. And using this new option that you can discover in the organization page in Advanced Installer, you can override our default rules that apply the Microsoft best practices, basically bundle multiple files in a single component, thus reducing considerably the number of components and speeding up the overall installation of the package. This was a highly requested feature by our IT Pro audience, and we hope they've all discovered it. If not, some of you are finding about it today, and give it a try as soon as you can, and leave us any feedback at support@advancedstar.com or on our forums, wherever you prefer. Now we'll go and talk a little bit more about UI, and that's UI in Advanced Installer and in the packages that you build. So as you probably have noticed in the past years, we've started the migration from HTML layout to WinUI, and we've been very happy to hear now Microsoft recommending WinUI 3 as the default UI framework for building desktop applications going forward. And as they said, WPF is still a good, solid solution, but it would be recommended to go on with WinUI 3, even if for us personally, there have been some hiccups when implementing WinUI 3 in a C++ application. We would have loved to get a little bit more support in tooling and documentation as folks building .NET applications do. But even so, the guys have been pounding a lot on this, and in the summer we've released a new version, basically a new theme for our updater. So now you have the updater in the classical Win42 UI, or you can choose to render a WinUI theme Currently, this theme is not customizable. In the future, we plan to allow you to customize the color scheme and other aspects of this design. But we are looking for more feedback and requests for you to make sure that we provide you with the level of customization that's needed in the community. And this will help you to create a more cohesive user experience for your applications and a better integration into the UI framework of the operating system, now that basically everyone is running a modern operating system with Windows 10 and Windows 11. Alongside this team, we've also done other improvements with WinUI in different views in advanced installers, and which you'll probably notice while using the application. But these are not visible to your end users as the updater is. And we've also been working on improvements in the installer teams. So you've seen last year we released the app installer team, and now we're close to releasing a new team optimized for suite installations. So basically bundling multiple installers inside the same package. As you've seen here in this, this is a rough demo that we've got straight out of our development branch, where we have 4 installers for advanced installer, Git, fork, and source tree. And you can see the status of was it installed or not. You get an update for that application. You can customize information for that application. And this suite installer will give you access to the source code of this wrapper, so you can basically control the experience 100% and provide a level of API integration with advanced installers, so you can manage the packages built by advanced installer, manage their installation directly from the suite installer. But unlike our previous teams, where you could where the editing capabilities were restricted to our what you see, what you get editor, our drag and drop editor, here you'll be able to do a lot more changes depending on the requirement and experience that you plan to provide to your customers. Or you can use it as a portal application for in-house applications. So if your company has multiple in-house applications built by you, you can just deploy one suite installer and then manage updates through this installer for those users internally. It's going to be released somewhere in the last quarter of this year. And if you have any questions or feedback or more interested in this kind of support, just email us at support@advancedinstaller.com and let us know what you are looking for. We've gathered some support that we've received in the past and got some inspiration from other suite installers that we've seen in the market. And now switching off from our user interface improvements, let's go a little bit in the background and tell you about some less visible improvements. So you probably noticed this by now. The ARM wave is also probably going to come on Windows 2. Microsoft announced the latest round of PCs targeting ARM CPUs, and we still haven't seen a large adoption, but we're getting more and more requests on creating packages that can target those machines. And inside those packages, there are different components, from custom actions, DLLs, stops, and other tooling that we're building for you to help you improve the packages that you build. And those needs to be recompiled and make sure they are compliant and work as they used to work on our x86 and 64-bit architectures, and they will also be working on ARM. So we've released support for targeting v6 packages on ARM. So if you're building Visual Studio extensions, this should be available right now in the latest version of Advanced Installer. And our IIS support is now under research and testing for the various capabilities and options to see how all of them work after we compiled our IIS implementation for ARM devices. So this is a much more bigger feature than the support that we had for V6, and it's not a 1 month release cycle task, but we're optimistic about its delivery and should be out by the end of the year. And I'm really curious to see how and on what kind of scenarios you are using IIS on ARM, and so we can better understand and try to further optimize this major feature for an advanced installer, because it's the level of options and customization that you can do in IIS is astounding, and we want to make sure that we're focusing on delivering the ones that are the most important for you. MSIX, from my perspective, is going a little bit slower this year, at least from Microsoft side, but we've still had some items on our to-do list and requests that we've seen from customers covering some limitations from the Microsoft framework, like for example, the support for external shortcuts, which you can't add using the current native support from MSIX. So if you have a case where you just want to launch an exe that's not part of your package, or in some other scenarios, you couldn't do that with when building an MSIX from Visual Studio or from the MSIX packaging tool. And now you can do that with Advanced Installer using our built-in stubs that also provide our app compat configurations for the package support framework. And we've also done there's some small improvements, like this support for case insensitive file name patterns and other adjustments in the background. The MSIX editor got some improvements, mainly packages that we received from you, so we appreciate that very much. So there were certain cases not well documented by Microsoft, and in those cases, the MSIX editor required some improvements to ensure a smooth editing operation of those packages. As you've seen on this slide, we also added as one extended support for custom context menus, so you can add nested context menu with multiple options for a single application. In the past, you could just add an open verb or an edit verb on this, but now you can have like a double layer context menu where you can say, okay, what can I do with Advanced Installer? I can edit, repackage, and or create a new package, and all of those on a single context menu entry. You can find a video on this demo in one of our release notes if you check the version history page. Or also on our YouTube channel, we publish there all the videos, including these webinars. I'm going to switch and talk a little bit more about a new tool we announced this spring. It's something that a few colleagues from our team have been working on, including me. And this is a tool developed for IT professionals that do packaging all day long. We feel that there was a missing link between packaging and deploying those applications, like how you organize the applications, how you keep track of the versions that you've deployed or not, keep track of the command lines, updates for those, or how do you manage the wrappers now that the PowerShell App Deployment Toolkit is getting more and more used by practically not everybody, but a huge portion of the IT community. And ensuring that you apply the same templates for your packages, that you avoid error-prone scenarios where you just forget to type a letter in the command line or add a comma. Those things are all being automated in PacKit. So instead of documenting the command lines in a spreadsheet, in a Word document, and just using your own proprietary document, and other colleagues from the team doing separate work, you can create a workspace, which is similar with a project in Advanced Installer, and that workspace is designed to maintain information about your package, like, hey, this is my source on the storage NAS. this is the version. We help you retrieve the command lines automatically from Winget, so you can add packages from your local machines, or you can add them directly from the Winget store with a simple search in our UI. And in that moment, we'll retrieve the command line informations and versioning info. Somewhere in the last quarter of this year, we've already started working. You'll be able to receive updates for those applications. Also, assign those applications directly in Intune. So from a single UI, you can get the application package with advanced install if you need to create a transform or repackage it and so on. Then manage all of its information inside the workspace and schedule it for publishing in Intune and assign it to either a test string or directly to a production group if it's an application like Chrome or Adobe, which you can safely deploy without further testing. The current version of PacKit you can find it at advancedr.com/PacKit. It's free. And it will be free forever, so you can manage your packages, find the command lines, upload them to Intune or SCCM without any problems. Later this fall, once we're starting to add more powerful features, we'll also introduce a paid version to help us fund the further development and further growth of this application, because there are still a lot of things to be done, as you'll see towards the end of this presentation. We've already have hundreds of users trying it. Please give it a try yourself. Send us the feedback over email, or just fill out the feedback form that it's linked inside the application. And it's the feedback that you send us. It's very, very important on setting the basis and the foundation for what we hope it will be a classic tool in the toolbox for every packager, every IT professional. Now, before we wrap up this year, I also want to mention some exciting changes that we're doing in the enterprise team. Then this will be arriving at the beginning of October. So currently we offer per user and per team and subscriptions. If you haven't noticed, we've been offering this for almost a year now. And we're doing some changes where you will start to see only per user subscriptions for professional licenses, while enterprise user will only be able to buy enterprise team subscriptions, which give you 5 seats at the same time. For architect editions, there will be no changes at the moment, but the big news is that we're cutting the price for enterprise team by 45% to make this more affordable, more accessible for everyone, and to help you manage appropriately your build teams, ensure that every developer from the team has access to those licenses for advanced installer. We've been building and improving our account dashboard, where you can manage the users and track your licenses and the renewal state. And this will also simplify your build server licensing, as we've seen this always is generating a lot of puzzle questions over the support, and we hope it will help make things more clear going forward. So as I said, this update in pricing will come in the following weeks. Currently, you'll still see the increased price for enterprise teams. If you're interested in this offer, just email us at support@advancedstar.com and reference this webinar and saying that you would like to switch on to the new enterprise team pricing, and we'll help you with a custom link to benefit from this opportunity. So here, let's go over a quick summary of what are the main changes here in 2024. So now you can digitally sign your packages with Azure Trusted Signing. Some of you have certificates that haven't expired yet, but will expire probably in the next 6 to 9 months. So make sure you evaluate the signing options beforehand. We've been using Azure for a long time, and now adding trusted signing was very easy for us, but you can be also a DigiCert customer that also works with Advanced Installer. We don't have the same level integration for DigiCert yet, but we've provided the tutorial on how you can configure DigiCert tooling as a custom tool for signing and get it working. Then we've continued our WinUI migration and integration in Teams. This should be basically by the end of this year, all of the HTML layout from views from Advanced Installer are being replaced with WinUI. And this means that from a security perspective, we no longer have any old frameworks in the tool without updates in the last year or so, because HTML was a framework that got put on hold by its maintainers, and we had to replace it as soon as possible. Alongside this, we've added some other security improvements, updated some other third-party open source libraries included in Advanced Installer, other minor security improvements in our code based on the feedback and audit that we've received from some of our customers. In the summer, we've deprecated support for Windows 7. So if you have missed that email, you should know that starting with the current version of Advanced Installer, we recommend you no longer be able to install Advanced Installer on Windows 7 machines. You can still build packages that target Windows 7, but you will no longer be able to run Advanced Installer itself on a Windows 7 machine. We've seen that percentage going down to 1 or 2%. So I assume those are mostly old users that haven't updated yet, or for some reasons they need to run on such a old machine. We've done some improvements on installer analytics, mostly background improvements, stack-related improvements, updates for Node.js and database migrations to a better provider. This got us some good speed improvements, both in loading times and also in how we parse the information received from the installers that have installer analytics enabled in them. We've done three releases for PacKit so far. All of them are free, as I said. So jump on our website and download the latest free edition, or doesn't matter, even if we release a paid edition, these free features will always be available for you, along with our classical improvements for our command line interface or the equivalent PowerShell commands, depending on which one you prefer to use. That's always growing using the feedback that you guys are sending us. For next year, we plan to continue our focus and collaboration with Microsoft to enhance the security that security provided to you, and that you also ensure to your customers. So helping you generate a software bill of materials or an SBOM should help you enhance the supply chain monitoring and reporting of the packages that you include in your own software, open source components and other tools that get included there, and keep a better track of whatever it's included there, if there are any vulnerabilities and some other things that need to be monitored. And it should also increase the trust of your customers in the solution and security standard practices that you apply for your tool. So this is something that's currently in R&D and will probably be released in the first part of 2025. As I've said, we're continuing our ARM improvements. Depending on your feedback, we're prioritizing certain parts from Advanced Installer. It might be the prerequisites area. It might be more custom actions improvements. We'll see how that goes, because this is a relatively new wave of requests. So it's a changing environment. And the part of our team will continue improving PacKit. So as I said, application pack is the main scenario that people using Advanced Installer Architect have been asking about. But because Advanced Installer Architect is not designed to manage multiple applications at the same time, we couldn't find the right workflow to include it there. So going forward, PacKit will allow you to easily receive notifications and automatically update applications that you're deploying inside your enterprise. And you can also assign those applications. Will first provide the assignment support for Intune, and going forward continue with our SCCM support for that too. A huge part of this improvement will also be a migration workflow that will allow you to export packages from SCCM, automate some part of their preparation for Intune, so you don't have to manually download and configure each package that you are pushing in SCCM in Intune. Basically, this should provide like 70% of the work should be done automatically by Intune, and the rest, 40-25% of the work should be done manually for you, tweaking some application, customizing, pruning duplicate applications and stuff like that. We can't include a PowerShell app deployment toolkit integration inside PacKit in the free edition, and we'll have to continue improving this one because there are so many use cases where we can save time and eliminate error-prone scenarios by simply providing you with some checkboxes or some UI options that can be later automated for new packages. We're looking forward to see more and more feedback from you on this, on both Advanced Installer and PacKit, and see how we can improve it. So we're doing a release, a development plan every 3 months. So we'll start planning for Q4 in a few weeks now, and also next year every 3 months we prioritize and reprioritize the issues based on the feedback that we get, and this allows us to stay up to date and deliver you as fast as possible any improvements and features that you need. As always, I recommend you jump on our website, search for our resources page for books, training materials. We have a lot of great articles written by my colleagues. And my favorite one is the software packaging checklist, which is a small web app where you can basically keep a checklist of help you make sure that you're applying the best practices when you're building that package. And you don't need a login or something. It's just a simple web page caching all that information in your browser cache. You can export that as PDF, easily send it to colleagues, and or share it with them to make sure that you're all aligned and don't accidentally make some architectural decisions that might cost you more along the line in support tickets or eventual changes in the package after you've deployed it with your customers. I think that's about it for today. Let's see if we have any questions. So I have one question from Soren. I can't find the certificate screen mentioned earlier, so I use the digital settings to an advanced story. It's the screen shown. So here I have the version 22.0. I don't know which version you have right now. You might be running an older version of Advanced Installer, but if you go to digital signature page, software certificate, you have the old options to use the certificate from disk, Azure Key Vault, and now we have a new option called Azure Trusted Sign. And if you're using an older version of Advanced Installer, from what I remember, we released this in April or May this year. So like 3 or 4 versions back. If you haven't updated in the last 6 months, you won't see this option in Advanced Installer. But if you are on the latest version, you should see this option available. If you still can't see it or have any problems, just email us at support@advancedinstaller.com, and my colleagues will gladly help you sort it out. There weren't any known bugs with this feature from what I know, but maybe there is something that you're just missing out. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Thank you for being our customers, and don't forget to write us, especially if something that is something that you need. We always love improving our tool. Have a great day. Bye-bye.